tell you I am an accidental lawyer. This is a very good profession, and nobody who is chicken-hearted can survive in this profession. And I will tell you what I have perceived in my life, till 5-6 years of my law career. That argument in the court is like a bullet in the war zone. You do not know where the bullet is coming from.
Sir, I want to know that current situation of judiciary and law in India.
See, we have a very robust judiciary right now. We have the largest democracy, and our judiciary is very robust. Right from the beginning, judiciary has been the backbone of our democracy. And having a robust judiciary, independent judiciary is very important because the mighty state can pass any orders in favor of anything they can do, manipulating the constitution. You might have heard about the emergency, what has happened, but it was the judiciary which stood firm at that time in 1975.
How anyone can hire a lawyer?
Uh, Anybody can hire a lawyer. You should be asking me, though, what about those person who cannot hire a lawyer? I'll tell you what, the person who can hire a lawyer, they can pay. But those who cannot hire a lawyer, it's upon the lawyer to take up that case as a pro bono case. I have a one pro bono case which relates to a POXCO Act, which POXCO Act is such an act which relates to sexual crimes against children. And there are 2-3 pro bono cases which I am doing right now. It's one of them. It's of sexual harassment against a 6-year-old girl which was being sexually molested or sexually harassed. She was raped when she was the age of 6. And her father is a driver on a tanker, water tanker. He came to me, he did not know his rights, what were his rights. Actually, the person was convicted. So he got 10 years of imprisonment, the accused got 10 years of imprisonment. And after that, an appeal is preferred before the Aurangabad bench of Bombay High Court. So I'm doing that case as a pro bono case. It's free of cost. I'm representing that victim.
सर मैंने सुना है कि कानून अंधा होता है, ऐसा क्यों बोलते हैं सर?
The statue which is there in the court hall, it's having a black strip on its eyes. So it's kept for the purpose of not to be a biased person or not to be a person which is going to give weightage to some persons. A judge is such a thing that he's having an enormous responsibility on his shoulders. He should not be biased. He has to give decision on the facts and circumstances and evidence led by the parties. It should not be happen that if a person is coming like you, if you are coming to me and I'm sitting as a judge, and I see your name there and I'm giving some weightage to you, it should not happen that. Judge अंधा नहीं होता, I can say.
Yes.
कानून अंधा हो सकता है, but judge अंधा नहीं होता. He sees everything. Those judges are doing a fantastic job. I won't name judges of the high courts and even the lower judiciary.
Okay. Sir, my next question is it hard to become a judge? What things are needed to become a judge?
See, basically, there is a difference between becoming a lower judiciary court or lower judiciary judicial officer and a judge in the High Court and the Supreme Court. Supreme Court judges and High Court judges, a lawyer can become directly a judge. He can get directly elevated depending upon his performance and experiences. And it's the collegium system of the Supreme Court and the High Court which decides about this. Right, of 5 senior most judges which decides this. Certainly, it's a very tedious and I can think a very tough job to become a judge in India specifically because the quality of cases here are very, very unique. You cannot enumerate what kind of case is going to come in front of you tomorrow, so you should be ready for that. See, after completing your law, you can directly apply for JMFC, Judicial Magistrate First Class or Second Class. But becoming a High Court judge, you need to have a practice of 10 years in the High Court or 15 years in the lower court.
Sir, what do you think about increase of sexual crimes against children?
There is a growing trend of these crimes in our society. Psychologically thinking, we can't be specific. What reasons are those? What reasons are there for these piling of these crimes or sorting of these such types of crimes? But one of these are having a very, I can say, a conservative mindset. सोच थोड़ी सी नैरो हो जाती है कहीं पे psychological. So there shouldn't be any retribution for these criminals, but certainly there should be something. Now you're telling about you have asked me that it should be sexual harassment of children who are under 18 years of age. Now I'll tell you one case which happened in Kolkata. I know the judge has given a judgment that the victim was of 15 years of age. He has given a judgment, he has granted bail in that matter to that accused for the simple reason that consent was obtained. And there was one more case which I was dealing in Bombay. The court was very much cautious enough in dealing with that case. Consent was obtained. It was not about POSCO, but it was about Section 376 of IPC, which deals in rape. So that girl used to go to Dubai, and that boy used to come to Pune. They were just having, they were living in a live-in relationship in Dubai also, in Pune also, working. They might have got separated because of some differences. But thereafter, what had happened? The girl files a case of rape against him. It's a frivolous case because already it was consensually done. That act was done consensually by the girl itself. But unfortunately, she files a case about rape against him. The judge, who was a lady judge in the High Court, she completely exonerated that accused person of all the charges against him, and imposed a cost of rupees 20 lakh on that girl. Only because of making a frivolous complaint against her, because she also was indulged in that act and files a frivolous case just on the pretext of saying this, that he has cheated me and he has obtained consent under duress or something like that. So that should know. The judges are. That's what I've said. The judges are doing a fantastic job right now.
Sir, tell me about what are the basic law that any common person should know.
I think the government should instill some syllabus of law in the school level itself, like in 8, 9, 10th standard. We have basic those subjects of civics or moral science. There are certain people who don't know even basic fundamental rights which are enshrined in the constitution, and they live in such a manner that we have to live it in this way only. मतलब वो ऐसा हो जाता है कि अपने हाथ में कुछ नहीं है, these people are powerful, we cannot do anything. It is the constitution which is more powerful. It is not the people who are sitting and governing our world. It is the constitution which is more powerful. So I think people should be aware of their rights basically. Basically those fundamental rights which are enshrined in the constitution in part 3.
Tell me about the worst case you have ever seen in your life. Go.
All the cases are worst cases in every lawyer's life. The thing is how you are dealing with it. You cannot bifurcate anything that this is worse and this is very simple. Yeah, that cruelty can matter, but certainly civil harm is also a harm. You cannot enumerate or you cannot reckon that civil harm is not an harm or it is a less harmful. Certainly it's not a physical harm, but mental harms are also harms. And those are more dangerous from physical harms. Usually people go in depression, people go in anxiety, people have that fear that something is going to happen against you. Yeah, in the eyes of law, in the court of law, or in the eyes of the judges, maybe this case might be having some importance. Like there might be some extreme important matters, bail, where the liberty of the person is at stake, and if a person's building is about to get destructed by the state authorities, yeah, certainly the court takes cognizance about it. You have to mention it properly, and even the judges should take these matters in an extreme urgent category for hearing. Because suppose a house is to be broken or house is to be dilapidated tomorrow, and if you are moving to the court today itself, certainly the court should hear you even at the bottom of the road and pass certain orders, at least to stay that dilapidation or that action of that state authorities, if at all it is to be stopped to be broken the next day.
मैंने बहुत बार देखा है लाइक इन मूवीज तारीख पे तारीख कभी ऐसा कोर्ट में होता है
You cannot do that sort of argument in the court because that is something very obnoxious and very hilarious also. So I would just say that you need to maintain the decorum of the court in the courtroom.
Okay. Have you ever fixed any end of your journey or like something like that?
The lawyer's journey is an endless journey, man. Because certainly you have to deal in every situation. There is no retirement age for a lawyer. There is no way. A judge can retire, but a lawyer cannot retire. And after the even it's now Ram Jethmalani was working at the age of 95, 96, and he just expired. He was a very admirable personality. There are very rare personalities. Fali Nariman, Nani Palkhiwala.
Yes.
Certainly, these personalities are adorable personalities. There is no retirement age, and you have to keep working. And once you choose this profession, you have to be very responsible, because people are coming with some expectations that this advocate is going to deal our case, and you have to represent a certain person in the court. And see, this court of law is the last thing of resort. Where will a person will go after this? You cannot. And today also, if two-person fights, what they say, that I'll see you in the court. This is the last thing of resort of every person. You might have heard. I'm repeating and reiterating those dialogues of Jolly. These things are very much important. You should be having some importance about what this movies are also trying to say.
For become a good lawyer, what things are needed? Like, is studies needed? Like hard study or like something?
Obviously, certainly, you need to study hard. A person, I'll tell you one thing very interesting. I've heard this from Honorable, who is a very senior lawyer, who's of 95 years old, still alive. His son was Supreme Court judge, recently retired, Fali Nariman. He once said, a person who does not read cannot have any authority over a person who cannot read. I'll repeat this sentence. A person who does not read means he knows to read, but he does not read, does not have any authority over a person who cannot read. So reading definitely is a very vital part of a lawyer's life. You need to have continuous reading habits, develop that habits, and speed reading is very important, I think. Speed reading, because that will inculcate some more knowledge, because you're taking up a book and reading it for hours and hours, and if you're not getting it, so you're wasting your time and you're not able to go on to some other subject which was very necessary for you. So I think reading and specifically understanding that what you have read, that is more important. It's argument in the court is like a war zone only. You don't know where the bullet is going to come and hit you. You should be ready for everything. And what basically I'll tell you a small anecdote of my life, that I was able to join. I went for my SSB selection at Allahabad. In every cantonment, there is a board written there that Aaj Mukabla Hoga. So there was, why that board is written, that every day might be a peaceful day, but you don't know when you have to serve the nation or where. So this is the same thing. You should be ready for everything, and for that purpose, reading is very important. That builds up your muscle memory.
So, what advice you want to give to the people who is watching the show?
Advice I would give to the people, whether you are in this profession or any other profession, you should be doing it consistently. Persistent is going to lead you to success. I have not been successful, so as I told you at the very start of this interview, that I'm not so grown up to give such interviews, but certainly this has come to my way. I have to deal with this, and as I told you that Aaj Mukabla Hoga, this is my Mukabla today itself. So basically, youngsters, keep working hard. There is no shortcut for hard work. You have to keep reading, and in any profession, you have to be persistent in your. And second aspect would be the vision. What visions you're having for yourself? What level you see after 5 years for yourself? from this day, you should be having a picture at the back of your mind. That I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. You start working that way.
Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable time and your suggestions about the law. And we had a good talk.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you for